The late afternoon sun hung low over Red Mesa, turning the desert stone into glowing copper. Cole Turner guided his horse Dusty along a narrow ridge while scanning the ground for missing cattle tracks. The air smelled of sagebrush and dust, and everything was still, too still. Cole slowed the horse, uneasy. Even the usual chirping of canyon birds had gone silent. A sudden sharp howl split the quiet. Then another. Cole sat up straighter in the saddle. Wolves, and close. Down below, near a shadowed ravine, Atsa, a young Apache girl known for her sharp observation skills, knelt beside a patch of wild roots she was collecting for her village. She worked calmly, humming to herself until the hairs on the back of her neck rose. She heard low growls before she saw the wolves, slinking from behind scattered boulders. Their ribs showed through their fur, desperation making them braver than usual. Atsa gripped her walking stick and backed against the rock wall. She knew better than to run. Wolves chased movement. She kept her breathing steady, eyes on the closest one. She whispered something under her breath, part warning, part prayer. Up on the ridge, Cole spotted the scene. Without thinking, he swung off Dusty and scrambled down the slope. His boots slid on loose stones, but he kept going, heart pumping fast. When he reached a clear line of sight, he fired a warning shot into the air. The noise echoed wildly between the cliffs. Startled, the wolves scattered, disappearing into the scrub. Atsa exhaled slowly, then turned to Cole, examining him with steady eyes. She wasn't frightened, only assessing. "You arrived quickly," she said, dusting her hands. Cole holstered his revolver. "Just happened to be nearby." Atsa shook her head slightly. "No one happens to be anywhere. The land guides people for a reason." Cole wasn't sure how to respond to that, so he simply nodded. She picked up her small bundle of herbs and began walking toward the trail. After a few steps, she looked back at him. "You helped me. That means you walk with me until sunset. Safer that way." Cole blinked, surprised at the certainty in her tone.
Sure.
"I can do that." Atsa nodded once, satisfied. "Good, keep up." And without waiting for his reply, she continued down the uneven path, confident and calm, as if she had known all along he would follow. The path Atsa chose wound between tall sagebrush and scattered sandstone, pillars shaped by years of wind. Cole followed a few steps behind, doing his best to read the land the way she did. Every few minutes she paused, sometimes crouching, sometimes tilting her head as if listening to something he couldn't hear. Cole realized quickly that she wasn't just walking. She was interpreting every detail of the ground around them. They reached a shallow dip where the earth turned soft from an underground spring. Atsa knelt and pressed her palm into the soil. "The cougar came through here this morning," she said quietly. Cole squatted beside her, trying to see what she saw. All he noticed was a paw-shaped dent. "How do you figure the time?" he asked. She pointed to the edges of the print. "The soil is damp only on the inside. The sun dried the outer part hours ago." Then she moved her hand a little farther ahead, and it was running. Something frightened it. Cole leaned closer. "Wolves?" "No," Atsa said. "Boot prints." She traced the shape with her finger. "Someone is chasing it." Cole frowned. A careless hunter was dangerous, not just to the animal, but to anyone nearby. Why would someone hunt a cougar now? Droughts made everything harder. They usually avoid this area. "Some hunt for sport, not survival," Atsa said, "and that throws everything out of balance. If this cougar is sick or desperate, it needs to be handled carefully." Cole stood and scanned the ridgeline. "Then we better find them before they make things worse." They walked on, the air growing cooler as the sun dipped lower. The desert shadows stretched long and blue. Atsa moved with purpose, stepping lightly, occasionally brushing her fingertips against shrubs or rocks, as if they whispered directions. At one point she stopped and held out her arm, signaling Cole to freeze. On a flat rock ahead lay a spot of dried blood, small but sharp against the stone. "The cougar is injured," she said. "Not badly, but enough to slow it." Cole tightened his jaw. "Which means the hunter's getting closer." Atsa nodded. "We must reach the cliffs before he does. Animals go there when they want to feel hidden. They quickened their pace, their footsteps quiet on the sandy ground." Cole didn't know exactly what they would find up ahead, but he trusted Atsa's certainty. The land clearly spoke to her. and for the first time he was learning to listen too. Dusk settled over the cliffs, turning their rugged edges into purple silhouettes against the fading sky. Atsa and Cole approached quietly, moving along a narrow ledge, only wide enough for one person at a time. The air held a faint echo, something between a growl and a pained hiss coming from the cave ahead. Cole felt the hairs on his arms rise. The sound wasn't loud, but it carried emotion, fear mixed with exhaustion. Atsa lifted her hand for silence. Even in the dim light, Cole could see her focus sharpen. She angled her head, listening closely. A human voice drifted out next, rough, confident, and far too loud for someone inside a place that could echo dangerously. "That must be the hunter," Cole whispered. Atsa nodded once. "And he does not understand this place. Loud voices can cause stones to loosen." They edged toward the cave. Inside, the hunter stood with his rifle pointed toward a shadowed corner where the injured cougar crouched, its tail tucked close to its body. The animal wasn't attacking. It was trying to defend itself with the little strength left. Atsa stepped into the entrance, her presence steady but firm. "Stop," she said, her voice echoing softly in the hollow space. "This is not your land to harm without need." The hunter spun around, startled that a teenager had confronted him so directly. "Who are you?" "Get out of here," he snapped, gripping his rifle tighter. Cole slipped in quietly behind Atsa, keeping a careful distance but prepared to intervene. "She's right," he said. "Put the gun down. You're cornering an injured animal in a cave. That's dangerous for everyone." "It's dangerous for me if I don't finish the job," the hunter argued. Atsa looked away from him and toward the ceiling. Tiny pebbles lay scattered on the floor, signs that the cave roof had already been shifting. She pointed upward calmly. "One shot will shake this place. If the stones fall, you will be the first trapped." The hunter hesitated. His confidence faltered as he noticed the loose fragments for himself. He muttered something under his breath, then lowered the rifle, frustration replacing bravado. He pushed past Cole on his way out, not brave enough to argue further. When the hunter disappeared down the path, Atsa approached the cougar slowly. She didn't reach out right away. Instead, she placed calming herbs on the ground, letting the scent drift gently toward the animal. The cougar blinked tiredly, but made no attempt to attack. "We'll help it," she said quietly. "My village knows how to treat an animal like this." Cole gave a small nod. "Just tell me what you need." "You stay with me until the cougar is safe," Atsa replied, her tone certain. "That is how we finish what we started." Cole didn't argue. Somehow it felt right.